Tuesday, we were watching a Yankees celebration. On Thursday, the Yankees watched a Red Sox celebration. But it's another day and another game, and it is time for baseball. As Pix 11 presents New York Yankees baseball. Tonight, it's the New York Yankees against the Boston Red Sox in Game 2 of a 4-game set from Fenway Park in Boston, Massachusetts. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Yankees baseball, along with David Cohn and Paul O'Neill. I'm Michael Kay. Yes, a tough loss for the Yankees, and there's no other way to put it. But who do you want on the mound after a tough loss? You want your best pitcher. You want your ace, and that's exactly what the Yankees have tonight. Gerrit Cole gets a start at Fenway against the Red Sox. Last two times out, that's vintage Gerrit Cole.
Well, it really was. When you consider the last time he was at Fenway Park, he really struggled in the first inning. He gets another shot at Fenway tonight, but his response to that, in the heat of the battle down against his old team in Houston, he really came up big. Maybe his signature moment in his young Yankee career. 9 of the finest and really fired up, and the Yankees needed that game badly. And then again, he followed it up in the pinstripes at home, starting to really get it working, all of his pitches, making all the adjustments now. And certainly when you look at Gerrit Cole, he's a true 4-pitch pitcher now, so he is unpredictable. And if you're going to pitch against the Red Sox and be in the American League East, you better pitch well.
He has pitched well the last 2 games. You see that game against Houston, 129 pitches, rain-shortened game at the stadium against the Red Sox, 6 innings, 5 hits. He struck out 11 and threw 96 pitches. Now, when you face the Red Sox, obviously you plan for the big 3, the guys that went to the All-Star game, and you worry about them. But sometimes the guys that you don't worry about, Paul, they're the ones that hurt you. And with the Yankees, they've been hurt so far this year by Kike Hernandez and Alex Verdugo.
Yeah, there's a couple guys, and if they come up big, obviously when you worry about the big 3, then you're going to lose games. Kike Hernandez has had some big hits against the Yankees so far. He got hot. Soon as Gerrit Cole walked into Fenway Park, boom, first pitch of the game. That was part of that bum start, and that kind of turned his year around. And last night, bottom of the 9th, 2 outs, a huge hit. And this tied the game up. You know, Michael, I still don't like to watch the Red Sox celebrate. I don't know what it is, just saying. But if
now, do you like Verdugo?
You go to Alex Verdugo. Well, I tell you what, somebody didn't tell him you're not allowed to pull the ball. He was spraying the ball all over the place last night. 3 hits in total. Came into the series hitting 1 for 19. He's going to be the guy always remembered that they got back for Mookie Betts. Last night, he looked like it was a good trade, hitting the ball all over the place.
All right, last 20 games for Hernandez, 1.106 OPS, which is excellent. Now, Verdugo against the Yankees, last 15 games, he slugged at .508. He's put together very good numbers, so 2 more players for the Yankees to watch. Well, last night, it was tough to watch the bullpen give it away. Chad Green could not hold the lead in the 9th. Brooks Kriske kept throwing wild pitches in the 10th. A tough loss for the Yankees, but there are reinforcements on their way. Big ones. Meredith Marakovitz has more when we return.
Welcome back to Fenway Park, where the Yankees will try to turn the page after last night's brutal loss. Game 2 of the 4-game series with the Boston Red Sox coming your way in just a few minutes. Hey everyone, I'm Meredith Marakovitz. It really looked like the Yankees were poised to take Game 1 of this series last night. That was until the bullpen faltered. First, Chad Green blew the save in the 9th, and then Brooks Kriske was unable to keep it under control in extra frames. But it wasn't just last night. The bullpen overall lately has been a little bit of a struggle. Over the last 14 games, they have converted just 2 of 7 save opportunities, and collectively, they have an ERA approaching 6. Now, there is reason to believe they could turn things around, considering they're getting 2 key pieces back tonight. Both Jonathan Loaisiga and Nestor Cortes have been added to the active roster. They are off the COVID list, and according to Aaron Boone, they are both options tonight. Time will tell whether or not that will make the difference. Plenty more to come here on Pix 11. When we get back, Michael Kay will be joined by Paul O'Neill and David Cohn. First pitch coming your way after the break.
New York Yankees baseball is brought to you by your Tri-State GMC dealers. Live like a pro. By Debt.com. Click on the TV baseball button at Debt.com for a free debt relief evaluation. By Mercy College. Open to whoever you are. Apply now for a fall start at mercy.edu. By 1-800-GOT-JUNK. All you have to do is point for full-service junk removal. By Spectrum Mobile, the most reliable service coast to coast. Visit SpectrumMobile.com. And by Lexus. Experience amazing. There's 696 home runs in that picture, and some of the other great Yankees and Red Sox through the years. Another full house at Fenway Park. Game 2 of this 4-game set. The Red Sox have taken the field, so why don't we take a look at the Yankees starting lineup, brought to you by Stop and Shop. Feed the moment. Giancarlo Stanton likes hitting at this old ballpark that opened in 1912. Well, he hasn't been playing here that long, but 15 games, 378, 2 home runs, 11 ribbies, slugging at .603. Against the left-hander, the bottom of the order is different. You've got Chris Gittens at first, Ryan Lamar's in left, and Greg Allen is in right field for the Yankees.
And the Yankees are going to face this guy. I think they know him pretty well at this point. They've seen him a lot. You can see on the season, Eduardo Rodriguez. This will be his 19th start. Numbers are rounded into form. The ERA is still a little bit high, but all the other numbers suggest that maybe he's a little better than that ERA. And the pitcher scouting report, brought to you by Chevrolet. We meet again. It's a 4-time already this year. He's got a 2.65 ERA in the previous 3 games started. A little bit of everything, his repertoire. kind of unpredictable. Cutter, sinker, backdoors, sliders and cutters and changeups, kind of all evenly distributed. And he's been much better lately in his last 5 starts, a 2.83 ERA. His first 13, a 6.21 ERA.
And the pitcher scouting report brought to you by ChevyOffers.com. Yankees are 50-45, and the Red Sox are 59-38. As we mentioned, a tough extra inning loss for the Yankees last night. Looking to bounce back, get back on the right track. They'd won 4 in a row before last night. Now let's take a look at the Red Sox defense, brought to you by Nissan. Shop NissanUSA.com. Verdugo Duran is the starting center fielder today, and Renfroe has a great arm over and right. Infield, Devers, Bogarts, Hernandez, and Dahlbeck. That's third to first. Vasquez behind the plate. And Erod, Eduardo Rodriguez on the mound. He's ready. LeMahieu is ready. And let's do it in Boston. First pitch, a strike. And we're underway. Alan Porter is the home plate ump. Sean Barber at first. Chris Guccione at second. Ramon De Jesus is at third. Line to left field. Verdugo there, 1 down. Now that umpiring crew is usually Mark Wegner's umpiring crew, but he's been out for a couple of weeks with a concussion, so he's been replaced by Barber, and Guccione assuming the role as the crew chief. Here's Giancarlo Stanton. He had a big hit last night, and then one of the oddest at-bats you'll ever see in the 10th inning, where he swung at pitches that really traveled about 50 feet from the mound. It was just odd. There's a strike to Stanton. Waved at that pitch, it kept bearing in on him. 0-2.
Rodriguez was so predictable when we watched him last time. It was cutters in and a good changeup away, so why change? A couple hard ones inside. Would expect him to go to a changeup away.
Swing and a miss. Missed that pitch by about 1 foot, 2 away.
Coney, this worked last week. Those cutters in, and then look, you just turn it over, run it off the plate, get the hitter looking in, way out in front of the changeup.
Pitching coaches have been teaching that style forever. Hard in, soft away.
So 2 down, and that'll bring up Rougned Odor. Last 24 games starting on June 8th. Been one of the hottest Yankees, hitting .293. There's a strike on the inside corner, 0-1. Boone has some reinforcements. As we said, he has Loazic, who's been so important back in the bullpen. Nestor Cortez has also rejoined, both of them off the COVID IL. The 0-1. 1-1. Last night's loss, the 4th loss of the year, where the Yankees entered the 9th inning up 2 or more runs, and that's by far the most of any team in baseball. 1-2.
So just demoralizing losses when you go through those. I know, Paul, when we went through a few of those at times, and well, you work all night long and then you lose it at the last minute. Boy, it affects the whole morale of the team.
The thing is you got to go, you take the field today, and you got to play 8 innings to get yourself to that point again where you have the lead in the 9th inning. And it just it takes I don't know that I've ever seen a season, Coney, where you've had this type of loss, this time and time again.
You do the math, Michael, and you get at least 3 or 4 of those games back. You got a whole different record working.
Absolutely. You'd be looking at 54 and 41. All of a sudden, you're 13 over and not 5 over, and your whole thought process about the season is different. And it's not unreasonable to think you should get all 4 of those. There are 3 other teams that have 2 of those types of losses: Toronto, Miami, and Cincinnati. Ground ball to Hernandez. And that'll do it here in the first. The Yankees go down in order against Rodriguez. Yankees nothing. The Red Sox coming to bat against Cole. Look at the Red Sox starting lineup. That Garrett Cole's going to face. It's brought to you by Hand and Stone Spa. Relax, reset, and restore. Jaron Duran, the rookie, got into the game yesterday as a pinch runner, but he's starting today and batting second. This season so far, 2 for 12, a home run, 2 ribbies, 3 runs scored. Hernandez has hurt the Yankees, as we detailed at the start. So has Verdugo, and you still have to deal with Bogarts, Devers, and Martinez. And the guy that has to deal with it is that man.
Garrett Cole on the season. This will be his 20th start, and those numbers are really good. The low walks, the high strikeouts. He's hard to hit. 15 home runs, maybe a little bit high. Let's check out the pitcher scouting report brought to you by ChevyOffers.com. And really simple formula. He gets ahead. 5th best rate of first pitch strikes, 67.5%. That's how you start it. And then when you get ahead, you make him chase. He's got the 4th best chase rate of contact outside the strike zone, 36.1%. And then another Fenway opportunity. You know, we saw Kike Hernandez hit the first pitch for a home run the last time he was on that mound.
And that's who's leading off. Hernandez got the big hit yesterday as well. And this time he starts him off with a breaking ball for a strike. Hernandez turns around and asks Porter, was not really a strike? And Porter said, well, that's what I called it. Swing and a miss, 0-2. You know, we were talking about the big double that Hernandez had. Hernandez is a dead red hitter. And Green just threw him a fastball, and he hit it over the head of Gardner. That tied the score in the 9th inning. And you know, Cole went to school on that and gave up a home run on a fastball. Now 2 breaking balls to start off the at-bat.
Yes, adjustment is made.
Another one on the way.
You know, I've always noticed that Chad Green likes to go with whatever the catcher calls for the most part. And with Brantley catching last night, maybe that had something to do with it, Michael. But, you know, it's hard to say. You know, most of the time you know that information going into the games. And
there's the fastball, but out of the zone. Three and two. 3-2 on the leadoff batter, Kike Hernandez.
You know, there's a difference between the first pitch of the game, a fastball hitter where he really can cheat, and now, you know, the whole sequence to 3-2. So maybe Garrett Cole can go back to the fastball here, or if he wants to not give in, throw the slider.
Over the head of Cole, right there is Odor. 1 away. Let's take a look at the Yankees defense. It's brought to you by Optimum. Lamar, Gardner, and Allen left to right in the outfield. Infield, the only difference from yesterday, LeMahieu moves to third. Gittins takes over first. Sanchez back behind the plate after having last night off. And for the second straight game, he's catching Garrett Cole. There's a strike to Jarren Duran. 24 years old. He's from California. 29th prospect in baseball, according to Baseball America. 7th round pick in 2018. Selected to the 2019 Futures Games.
Remember his first at bat, first pitch lined up the middle off Garrett Cole. First big league hit. So he didn't waste any time.
1-2.
See Duran ask home plate umpire if that was up or not, and that was in the zone. Alan Porter, one of the highest ranked umpires in the major leagues this year so far. He's in the 96th percentile in terms of overall accuracy, based on that white box that you see on the screen in front of home plate. Very talented young umpire.
Swing and a miss. Duran down on strikes. All right, it's time for the keys to the game. They are brought to you by BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks.
Well, Coney talked about it. If you're Garrett Cole, you want to forget Fenway. June 27th, he gave up 6 runs, including 4 in the first inning. He's had 2 good quality starts against the Red Sox also, and stay small. I don't think that you try doing anything different. I mean, they've been really good lately at running, situational hitting, bunting. That's the way you score runs, and it puts you in a chance to win. You just didn't close the deal, and no extras. I'm not talking about extra innings, talking about extra outs. You got to make the plays. You give the Red Sox extra outs, they're going to score runs.
Now, you know, in the extra innings last night, we took a look at the elderly bat boy that the Red Sox have provided the Yankees. There he is, and you called him the Batman. And the great comedian Jim Gaffigan said, "I am the Batman." He looks just like Jim Gaffigan.
He does. Looks like Jim Gaffigan and Wade Boggs kind of mixed together there.
Well, he was munching on a wafer yesterday, so he's not grabbed that yet. But that's the oldest bat boy I've ever seen.
He's had that job for a while, and he's not giving it up.
John Flaherty told the guys in the studio that he was the bat boy in the dugout when he was playing. And he probably is close to pension.
I didn't recognize him right away, but I think he was around when we were there too, Paul.
It's a hard life hanging out in that dugout, Cody. You go through a lot, man. You age fast, you know.
Wonder if he knew Mickey Mantle. There's a base hit to right field. Just dunked it into shallow right. So Bogaerts picks up a single.
Oh, it is a true jam shot right in off the handle. But see, hands inside the ball, you've got a chance. You see Bogaerts, Devers, Martinez, all these guys that are right around the 300 mark. You know, if you're beat, this is how you give yourself a chance, by trying to loop one the other way.
So here is Devers. See his numbers, and he has a 3.8 WAR, which leads all Major League third basemen. And still has a lot of season left to play. You don't lose WAR, you only add to it. Outside, 1-0.
This day and age, wasn't Mike Trout like the king of the WAR stats? Wasn't he the leader when he was healthy? Or Ohtani's up there, obviously.
Yeah, Ohtani's doing it on both sides, so he's doing double duty nowadays. Blazing a new trail. But you're right, Paul. But Mike Trout did it as well, you know, and obviously wins above replacement is a counting stat, and defense is factored into it. There's different variations. F-WAR takes into account fielding, the fielding portion of it as well, which can be a little more volatile.
$100 miles an hour there by Cole. So Ohtani leads the American League in WAR this year. Then Guerrero, Cole, Simeon, and Gallo. Well, our guy James Smythe has figured it out. He found a headline from 2014. Red Sox bat boy Chris Cundiff still having a ball in his 20th season. So this is his 27th season. Paul, he was in that clubhouse with you and David.
I was locked in. I couldn't figure it out. I didn't recognize him.
But he would have been a kid then, so it would have been just like any bat boy.
That's right. Right, he didn't have a goatee back then. That's why I didn't recognize him.
He was there when Jeff Nelson got in a fight in the bullpen.
I remember that one.
2-2. Missed upstairs with the fastball. 3-2.
Just above the zone at 99. Garrett wanted it.
So did Boone. You can see Boone wanted to defuse that. He doesn't want to lose Cole.
Exactly. He's protecting his pitcher.
Strike three. Punched him out on the breaking ball. Devers down looking. No runs ahead. No errors and one man left. Sometimes yelling works. We go to the second inning. 0-0. For an hour of scores, highlights, interviews, and insight, it's Sports Nation with Andy Adler, Joe Morceri, and Justin Walters. That's Sunday at 11 right here on Pix 11, New York's very own. 0-0 as we go to the top of the second inning at Fenway Park in Boston. Fenway Park has been around so long that it actually opened up the week that the Titanic went down. So that was in 1912. Now, last year, today actually is the anniversary of the start of last season, the 60-game season. And the Yankees opened the season against the Nationals. And without fans in the ballpark last year at Fenway Park, and they needed social distancing, and the clubhouses are so small that the Red Sox used the luxury boxes for some players. And the visiting team actually had to get dressed in the walkways that the fans use to get to their seats. So it was an odd season to say the least, but they got it done in Fenway.
Yeah, you think about those walkways, Michael. They were concrete and green metal posts. That was it. I mean, Fenway Park is old, and the amenities aren't up to par with other stadiums, but there's still a charm about walking down that tunnel to go out to this field, knowing the people that have played here before you.
You know, in Brian Hoke's book, The Bronx Zoom, about last year, which is a really good book, you know, he wrote about the players dressing where, you know, the sausage stands are, and, you know, obviously those weren't open last year. And, you know, Eric Kratz, who was on the team, said if anybody had a drone, they could have seen things that they should not have seen. 1-2. 2-2. And there's the concourse. That's where the lockers were, just so that there would be social distance for the players. And it's good to see people back there, and it's good to see Fenway alive and full. 2-2. 3-2 to Sanchez.
Well, the footprint of Fenway Park is just so unique. I mean, they've maximized every inch of that place.
And that's a good at bat for Sanchez. Patient, took close pitches, and works a leadoff walk.
It's funny, it goes with B. Porter being such a good umpire that as a hitter you can have at bats like that, not scared to take pitches close with 2 strikes. Those were 2 pitches, one just off the inside corner and one down, that last night you're probably walking to the dugout. I think the plate was larger last night. It's good to see somebody that really has a good eye for the strike zone.
There's Torres, and there's a strike. Which brings us to Who's Hot, brought to you by MSC Cruises, a world of discovery. And Glaber's hot, last 9 games, 290, 3 homers, and 7 ribbies, and OPS over 1.
I knew a couple pitchers that just absolutely would go crazy when that happened. Coney, that bug you when somebody stepped out when you had started your windup?
Yes, it would.
That's past the diving Bogarts and into left field. Sanchez advances to second, so the Yankees first and second, nobody out.
I thought it was interesting last night, Coney. You thought that Gleyber Torres was going to be a big part of this series as he goes out and really stays on this changeup. Big sacrifice fly last night, and so far, good start tonight. So, you know, there are some guys in this lineup that obviously are going to have to carry the load. Gary Sanchez, Torres, Stanton, those guys, their at bats mean a lot every night now.
Yeah, so true. Yankees really missed that production from Glaber. It's kind of the X factor. You kind of expect Judge to do what he does. You expect Stanton to do what he does. Sanchez coming back. But Glaber was always the one. Boy, he was a difference maker in that lineup. The Yankees, to get to the postseason, they need Glaber to be Glaber again.
So here's Brett Gardner, sixth hitter in the Yankee order. The old inside move. Did you use the inside move?
Occasionally. You know, in this spot, there's really not a need for it. Depends on if you think there's somebody really trying to get a jump on you and trying to steal third base. Then it can be effective.
Did you see what was announced today? That in Class A ball, starting in August, they're going to have the catcher with an electronic device sending the pitch to the pitcher, who will have something around the sweatband in the hat, so you won't have to go through the multiple signs, and they think it'll speed up the game.
With men on base, it will speed up the game, especially in today's game.
And Paul, the company that invented it insists that it cannot be hacked, so it's safe.
That'd be nice if the hitter could just like hack into it, tell the pitcher what he's supposed to throw.
One and one on Gardner. Missed that pitch. Looked like it hit the top of the zone. 2-1. That's the one he missed on Cole as well.
Borderline at best.
Two.
The big early spot for Gardner to get a productive out, potentially move the runners, advance at a minimum, drive in a run at the best. Give Garrett Cole an early lead would be a big deal for the Yankee bench.
That one is lined into left center field. It's going to be a base hit. Cut off there by Duran. Scoring easily is Sanchez. Moving to third is Torres. It's an RBI double for that man, Brett Gardner, and the Yankees jump out 1-0.
It's a great piece of hitting. Ball down and away, line it to left center field, and you got to hit it pretty hard, because if there's any loop in this ball at all, it gets caught because of the short left field. Good job by Brett Gardner. I was saying earlier in the bet, this is a tough at bat. I mean, even that inside move, maybe they thought he might bunt. But, you know, this is one of those games by necessity that Brett Gardner has got a tough matchup. Comes through with a big hit here in the second.
Looks like something's up with Eduardo Rodriguez. Just hope he's okay. He had issues last year with a bout with myocarditis, but has come through that fine and had no issues this year. But he is in some level of distress on the mound.
Like he almost grabbed the left part of his lower back. I don't know if something tightened up there.
and he's going to leave the game. He's been an important pitcher for them. So the Red Sox will have as much time as they need to warm somebody up. And when they decide who to bring in, we'll be back right after these words. Unexpected call to the bullpen brought to you by Mount Sinai. We find a way, and the Red Sox are going to have to find a way to get 24 outs out of their bullpen. And they will start with Phillips Valdez, who was just brought up today with Sawamura going on the IL. And Valdez, 20 games, 2-0, 4.24. Almost a strikeout per inning, 12 walks. He's allowed 1 home run. A read-thin right-hander 29 years old, from San Pedro de Macorís in the Dominican Republic. This is his 3rd big league season. And Sawamura, who's been tough against the Yankees, placed on the IL today with right triceps inflammation. Valdez spent the first 2 months of the season with the Red Sox and was sent down on June 10th, called up today. Made his major league debut in 2019 with Texas, spent 10 seasons in the minors. Chris Gittins at the plate, runners on 2nd and 3rd, infield in for the Red Sox. A strike. So when we get word on Eduardo Rodriguez, we will certainly pass it along.
Infield all the way in early in this game with nobody out in the 2nd.
And I know you agree with me on this. That's why I've always laughed. Well, I'm not facing the opposing pitcher. Well, yeah, you are, because that's why the infield's in, because Garrett Cole's the opposing pitcher.
It's a great point.
I think Alex Cora is also looking at Gittins, Lamar, and Allen, 3 young hitters. You know, you kind of put the pressure on them by bringing the infield in, try to make them feel, you know, like they're trying to get something done and try to force it.
Swing and a miss. Gittins down on strikes, 1 away.
Again, Valdez gets ahead, and then that 2-seamer kind of rides up out of the strike zone. Gittins can't catch up. 2 men on base. It's all about contact at this point.
There's Ryan Lamar. That big walk-off hit for the Yankees on Wednesday against the Phillies. There's a strike. Infield remains in for Lamar. And Lamar gets plunked to load the bases. Now the Red Sox now have the option of dropping back and playing for double play.
Little spit and slider. That's called taking one for the team.
Especially with an arm pad on, huh?
Torres at 3rd, Gardner at 2nd, Lamar is at 1st. There are a lot of pitchers that feel that if you get hit on the armor, you shouldn't take first. It's just a ball. Because that armor gives you a lot more courage to dive out over the outside corner, right, David?
Yeah, I guess. I'll defer to Paul.
I know one thing. I wore it on my shin just because I was told to, but you know, it just started getting into the game at that point, and I never got the elbow guards or anything like that. But boy, I tell you one thing, I think I would at this point. That you know, you don't have to worry about getting nicked on the elbow or anything like that.
1-1 to Greg Allen. 2-1.
Another changeup, and Valdez loves his changeup. He throws about 61% of his pitches are changeups. So it's a, you know, that's a quick scatter report that the Yankees, I'm sure, have. Just loves to go to his changeup in big situations.
There's a strike. Shortstop and second base. They're back for the Red Sox, looking for 2. They are in on the corners. swing and a miss on a change. So Allen down on strikes. 2 away. Bases remain loaded. And back to the top of the order. And DJ LeMahieu.
See that spin and then the little downward action. But again, after 93, his changeup's 86, 87. Good movement.
Yeah, Valdez has always had a really good changeup. Not much of a slider, as that's what he hit Lamar with. But 2-seamer and a changeup, both with the same spin and the same arm action.
Well, big at bat right here. Kind of a disappointing inning to have bases loaded, to not throw up a big number. But DJ LeMahieu has a big at bat here and an opportunity to drive in a few. But these are the innings that the Yankees have to take advantage of. You're shortchanged on everyday players when you do get the opportunities. Obviously, you got to take advantage of them.
LeMahieu with a 32-game streak of reaching base safely. Pitch inside. 1-0. LeMahieu with a fly ball to left. That was in the first inning to start the game. Second inning, Yankees lead 1-0. Bases loaded, now 2 outs. Fastball strike, 95 miles an hour, 1-1. One and two.
I thought it was an interesting observation yesterday, Michael, that you had the Boston Red Sox fans kind of react to something that happens good. I mean, now they're starting to get into it. You've got 2 strikes with bases loaded where, if you're in New York, this whole inning, the fans are on their feet trying to get through this.
Strike 3, LeMahieu down looking. What a job by Valdez. Yankees leave the bases loaded. They do get a run, but they had second and third and nobody out. They couldn't get any more as LeMahieu down looking. Visit to Yankee Stadium, buy and manage game tickets, redeem offers, access exclusive content, and much more. Download the MLB Ballpark app today. The Yankees have to hope that that doesn't come back and bite them. Second and third, nobody out. They do not get any more runs. So we'll see how the Red Sox respond against Garrett Cole. That pitch is called a strike by Porter, and it was in the box. Cora pumped up. And LeMahieu not too thrilled. J.D. Martinez pops on up right side. Gittins runs out of room. And something that Vasquez did that usually distracts umpires, he stood up, and Alan Porter still saw it as reading the top of the strike zone. And again, according to the box, he was right.
Yes. So, you know, Alan Porter's reputation certainly is something that we heard about, and today's strike zone, he's solid, very accurate.
Strike three. Martinez down looking. What a good pitch by Garrett Cole.
Well, pitch before, he beat him right inside with a 98-mile-an-hour fastball and then absolutely paid it. A slider just off the outside corner, got the call.
J.D. Martinez begs to disagree with me.
Alex Verdugo takes a knuckle curve for strike. David, there were a stretch of games where Cole really struggled. Very un-Cole-like. And the last two, back to form. What happened in the last two? What happened when he struggled?
Only he can truly answer that. I think you go the difference between is a high spinning four-seamer that you're trying to just get up in the strike zone at the top of the box to going to now I'm mixing in all four pitches and I'm going for the corners with my four-seamer. You can see he's shooting for lanes now, pitching in and out more rather than just up. Now, I don't know if that's a product of being able to use sticky stuff or not, but you know, he's certainly changed his style. I think Garrett Cole's got that ability to make adjustments on the fly as well as anybody.
Swing and a miss. Meredith, what do you think?
Well, Michael, I spoke to Jameson Taillon about that earlier, the turnaround for Garrett Cole the last two games, and he told me there was never any doubt, explaining that Cole is so process-oriented that he looks at every hiccup as an opportunity to get better through watching video, making adjustments, and really learning from it. Taillon said that's something he has always admired about Cole, and he added, at the end of the day, regardless of how he threw the time before, he is always Garrett Cole. People know what he is capable of. And I spoke to Aaron Boone about it, too, and he said fastball command, David, what you were talking about. They feel as though that's the biggest difference over the last two starts. His delivery is more in sync. He was having issues locating that fastball, and as a result, he wasn't able to really go to the breaking stuff the way he wanted to.
Thank you, Meredith. The 0-1. 1-1. And you look at his record coming in, 10-4, 2.63. Despite that stretch where, you know, at times he didn't look like Garrett Cole, he's very much in the Cy Young race in the American League. There's a strike, 1-2.
If you look at the pitch values, Fangraphs.com has a metric that sort of gauges all the pitch values. And Garrett Cole's got a great fastball, a great slider. His changeup is way up this year in terms of value, getting outs with that pitch. Saw a strikeout on the previous batter. The one pitch that he struggled with a little bit is his knuckle curve. See the usage there and the breakdown and the average miles per hour. His changeup and his slider have been really good this year. His knuckle curve, not as good as in years past. Just in terms of the outcome off of that pitch. It's not the whole story. You're kind of taking pitches out of context and what happened when you threw that pitch, but throwing his changeup much more this year. and it's been very successful for him.
There's the knuckle curve, fouled away. Has 4 strikeouts so far. He has not allowed more than 2 earned runs in 15 of his 19 starts. So always keeping the Yankees in the game. Fouled away. Yankees lead 1-0.
The thing about Garrett Cole is, and the thing that he's shown, Michael, is he's got the ability to mix it up, to make adjustments on the fly. He embraces the artistry of pitching. That's all he wanted to talk to me about, was the finesse part of the game when I first met him.
Did he go? No, he did not.
So to Mara to this point, and when she talked to Jamison Tyone, that is right, on track for me in terms of my read on Garrett Cole, both talking to him and watching him. Good changeup right there. You can see he is mixing it up, more in and out. All 4 pitches come into play. Seemed like last year we saw a lot more high fastballs with 2 strikes.
And there's the sequence so far in this at bat against Renfroe. Tries to pull the knuckle curve. And he beats it out. LeMahieu got rid of it quickly, and he beats it out. Renfroe hustling down the line. The Yankees will take a look, see if they challenge. That's just a hustle single right there.
Renfroe's a really good athlete. I mean, he's had years in the past in San Diego where he, hit 33 home runs. But we talked about his arm, his outfield ability. Big guy, gets down the line quick. Definitely safe.
Valdez approves. And that'll bring up Christian Vasquez. High fly ball. Lamar is there and puts it away for the final out. No runs a hit, no errors, and 1 man left on base. We played 2. It's 1-0 Yanks. Well, here's a look at the Yankees' upcoming schedule brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places, and this is an important road trip. 2 more games against Boston, 4:05 tomorrow, and then 1:10 on Sunday. Both of those games on Yes. And back on Pix 11 after an off day Monday, a 3-game set with Tampa Bay. And 2 night games, 1 afternoon, and then on to Miami. Giancarlo Stanton knows that place well. Might be in the outfield in that series, and he leads off here in the 3rd. Pitch outside, 1-0.
Well, getting Stanton in the outfield does open things up quite a bit for Aaron Boone, and being able to mix his lineup differently on a nightly basis, especially with Rougned Odor playing so well, and the ability of LeMahieu to move around both first base and third base. It's kind of how they originally signed LeMahieu. That's how they envisioned him, moving around.
Case in point, last night, I mean, if the DH spot is not taken, Gary Sanchez, who was kind of beat up the night before, I mean, you can give him a day, keep his bat in the lineup, and have him as your DH. So I always liked the way Buck Showalter would use the DH, where he would use it not just one guy, but kind of a revolving thing to keep guys fresh, keep guys in the lineup.
Yeah, Luke Voit, when he comes back, could take some DH at bats as well. You could have a better defensive infield with LeMahieu in there moving around and playing first base at times.
And not to be overly dramatic, it also impacts future seasons, whether or not you're going to sign people, whether or not you can make trades for people. Because if you lock in that DH spot, there are certainly certain people you can't go for, because that would displace other people that might do well in the DH position. But as long as Stanton is locked into that spot, that becomes a little bit of a negative. And that's ball 4, so he starts off the 3rd inning with a walk. Aaron Boone said that Stanton could play in the outfield either tomorrow or Sunday.
Well, you bring up a good point. I mean, he's 31 years old. So certainly he's had some leg issues, but when he gets fully healthy, should be very capable of getting back out there, and was considered a good outfielder when he was in Miami.
He was a full-time outfielder when he won the MVP. He hit 59 home runs. He played right field. He has a good arm. Yankees would like to get him back to that. Opens up a lot more options. Here's Rougned Odor. Aaron Boone was saying today how much of a great pickup it was for Tampa Bay to get Nelson Cruz. And a lot of reports are that the Yankees were also in on Nelson Cruz. Now, Nelson Cruz is a 41-year-old DH. So if the Yankees were even entertaining that, well, Nelson Cruz or Stanton would have to play left field. So although they were in on it, did they go the extra mile because of the fact they knew Stanton or Nelson Cruz would have to play someplace where they have not been comfortable of late? There's one. Back to first, not in time.
Odor way out in front and kind of hooks the baseball. Play to get the first step at Ciccone. That is the toughest one to turn as a pitcher covering first base.
Got to get over there, find the bag, and then look up in time. Odor got down there well, though, and the ball was not that hard hit.
And it was Devers, because of the shift, who took the throw at second. Here's Gary Sanchez. He walked.
So weird this day and age with the shifts as a third baseman, and then play you're turning 2 coming across second base. I mean, it's just so weird to me to see guys, doing that.
There's a strike.
You look at generational pitchers, Paulie, and Pedro Martinez, obviously a generational pitcher that influenced so many different pitchers of all walks of life, and certainly Dominican pitchers. And Valdez, you can almost see that from the arm angle. He's no Pedro Martinez, obviously, but the style, his release point, the changeup. Pedro Martinez, as you know, had one of the really great changeups. Almost like a parachute changeup. You see it right there. That's the same arm angle that Pedro threw his from. Not the same movement, but certainly trying to copy it. On the other end, Mariano Rivera for the Yankees. You see a lot of cutters nowadays. A lot of closers. Kenley Jansen. 2 generational pitchers, Pedro Martinez, Mariano Rivera. You still see them being copied nowadays in today's game. Or at least trying to be like them. There's nobody like those 2 guys.
It's funny you talk about that, Coney, and you were talking about Garrett Cole a few innings ago. There's some players out there today that think the past doesn't mean anything to today's game, but guys that really understand baseball, you can pick up things from 20, 30 years ago that are still in play today if you want to listen. But if you close the book and say, oh, that's old school baseball, it's different now, I think you're missing a lot. And I thought it was interesting you said that Garrett Cole wanted to talk to you about certain things.
Well, Valdez has said that he has looked at videos of Pedro throwing the change. So there is that in there. He said it's something I practice on and something I really wanted to perfect. I don't know if you could ever reach Pedro level. That's a once-in-a-generation sort of pitcher. Not a bad guy to copy.
No, yeah. I copied Luis Tiant because I saw him when I was 12 years old in the '75 World Series. Pedro Martinez copied Mario Soto, the great Cincinnati Reds pitcher who had one of the best circle changes back in the '70s.
He certainly did.
Swing and a miss. There's that change. 2 away. Odor stays on first.
It's not only the change, it's the arm and the whole body, everything coming at you, and then the ball doesn't quite get there. It's just very hard to read as a hitter.
Yeah, it's almost as if when Pedro threw his good changeups, his arm speed looked faster or quicker than his actual fastball. It's the sales job that gets hitters.
Looking back, and Fenway reminds me of Pedro. It was the times that he got through the lineup without using this changeup, just fastball, curveball. Those were the nights it got ugly, because then the changeup would come out your second at bat, your third at bat, and it just like he was unhittable on specific nights.
Fastball strike. Valdez in because Eduardo Rodriguez left the game after Gardner's double. He was in distress near the mound and then ended up leaving the game. We still don't have word what happened with Eduardo, hoping it was only a back issue or a side issue. Nothing serious. Runner goes, throw to second, got him. Really nice tag on the throw from Vasquez. So with Torres up, Odor goes. He gets gunned down for the final out of the 3rd inning. We'll see if they got him. I'm not sure. So let's hold the music and see if the Yankees do in fact challenge. They are not challenging. So Odor is out trying to steal. We go to the bottom of the third. Stadium on Friday, August 6th, when the Yankees host the Mariners for one of the hottest promotional giveaways of the season. It's Garrett Cole Top Gun Bobblehead Night presented by Bank of America. And the first 18,000 guests in attendance are going to receive a Garrett Cole Top Gun Bobblehead. Tickets are going fast, so get yours today at Yankees.com. That's the real Garrett Cole as he starts the bottom of the third inning and deals outside to Bobby Dahlbeck. You know, we always talk about how, moving runners and hitting runs and bunts are good things. And, because we've been so mesmerized by the strikeouts and the walks and the home runs. But it's almost like too much candy. Was that the right move to steal second base when one of your hottest hitters is up, Gleyber Torres? And, in the analytic world, they don't mind you stealing bases, but you have to steal them at about 80% success. So you do wonder if that was called for the bench or if Odor took off on his own.
I think you got to take into consideration what the Yankees have right now. And sure, Gleyber Torres, what's wrong with having him lead off too? I mean, he gave Gary Sanchez an opportunity to pop a 2-run homer, but then Odor tried to kind of push the envelope and steal bases. And I think with this lineup, you're going to have to take some chances, and you're going to have to live and die by taking an extra base or a stolen base. It's just the way they're going to have to play baseball right now.
Dahlbeck lines out to Odor, one away. And here's Kike Hernandez, rounded to second in the first inning. There's a strike. High changeup that caught the upper quadrant.
Early in this game, the impressive part about Alan Porter back there is he's not affected by framing or where the catcher sets up, or he just calls the strike where the ball crosses the plate based on what he sees. We saw it with Vasquez. You mentioned it earlier, Michael. We've seen Gary reach across the plate a couple times, and if it's in that box, he's pretty accurate. And if it's out, He's pretty accurate there, as that one just missed. Give credit where credit's due. You know, we tend to get on umpires when they miss pitches a lot. It's a hard job. Alan Porter's really good at it.
2-1. Good fastball, but outside, 3-1. And he walks Hernandez. First walk by Garrett Cole. Here's Jarren Duran. Duran made his major league debut at Yankee Stadium, and he did single, as Paul said earlier, on the first pitch that they saw from Garrett Cole. And last night he pinch ran and scored the tying run on Hernandez' 2-out double in the ninth.
You know, at the time that didn't seem like much. You know, Alex Cora pulling the trigger and putting Duran at first base, but you know, then after the double from Hernandez, he scores. So it was a big play to have some speed at first base.
Well, Paul, Cora said after the game that Duran got a good primary lead, and as soon as the ball was in the gap, we knew he was going to score. Just a little bit low. Also, one thing we noticed when Duran was at Yankee Stadium, his whole family was here, and they kept showing his dad. And if they had like a boxing competition or fight competition between major league dads, he might win. That guy's jacked.
Yeah, don't they lift weights together? I think they work out together. Was a story where got his son stronger. I think you mentioned.
Yeah, Charlie's not getting the benefit of that.
He's going to get the Garrett Cole bobblehead, though. I mean, you got to look at what you get and what you don't get, right?
You know what?
You're going to take one of those for him.
Everything's a trade-off. You're right, Paul.
Didn't somebody accuse you of being on steroids on your radio show?
Yes. Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. Obviously, TV doesn't have great transmission. I don't know.
Oh, we had that picture of you in spring training. I remember.
Yeah,
Stuck that head of your head on somebody's. Didn't take long to change that body up.
3-2 on Duran.
Or was it on Twitter?
Well, somebody took the shot on Twitter, and of course I had to read it and said, you know,
you couldn't ignore it, right?
Yeah. See, there it is. It's still there, Paul. But when you have a sport coat and a tie, people don't see it. 3-2. Another walk. So 2 straight walks. Hernandez, now Duran. And Matt Blake will come out and talk with Cole.
I think this is more about just giving him a breather. Take a break. Get on the same page here in terms of what you want to throw now, how you're going to attack this hitter.
Well, this copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the New York Yankees and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Yankees. Well, Cole's at 56 pitches here in the third inning. He's thrown strikes, 8 of 11 first pitch strikes.
Just tell he's pitching a little carefully. He senses how important this game is for the Yankees after last night's devastating loss.
Missed outside to Bogarts, 1-0.
He knows one mistake here or there can be a difference maker.
Bogarts starting shortstop for the American League in the All-Star game. And that one just misses off the outside corner. 2-0.
It's kind of that balance, Paul. On the pitching side, do you pitch to the hitter's weaknesses or to your strengths? And if you start concentrating too much on the hitter, then you get a little defensive, a little tentative. You know, on your side for the hitter, it's like selective, aggressive but selective, right? You want to swing at good pitches, but you want to be aggressive at the same time. It's always that balance.
Yeah, I always was more. I had more success when I worried about what I wanted to do. If I allowed the pitcher to get into my head, I was going to make an out. And, you know, I always remember Joe Torre said, you know, you could have 3 inside. Who says that the pitcher's good enough to hit that spot every single time? And it goes to that point. I mean, sooner or later, you'll get a pitch to hit.
Bogarts did on that previous slider and missed it. Now Garrett falls down 3-1. The balance of the Red Sox lineup, especially at the top. Right, left, right, left.
To a slider on 3-1, 3-2 now.
Really good one there.
This is just the second time this year that he's walked consecutive batters. He did it July 11th in Houston. And then he immediately went strikeout double play to end the inning. But here it's first and second, 1 out. And strike 3, 101 on the corner of the box. And Bogarts does not complain. He's down looking.
You talk about pitchers every once in a while keeping something that they need in a big situation. Well, 101 on the outside corner is that pitch. It's not going to get hit very much. And this, he just nipped the corner.
Well, if you're good enough to throw a 101-mile-an-hour pitch there, then the umpire's got to be good enough to call it. Both of them on point.
Here's Devers. 5 strikeouts for Cole. One of them to Devers. 100 miles an hour. Swung on and missed. 0-1.
Talk about pitchers with that it factor, Michael. Nolan Ryan used to have that ability to reach back when you needed it. Save a little something in your hip pocket. Garrett Cole's got that ability. All of a sudden, looks like he's struggling. Dials it up a notch.
94 on a change.
Nolan Ryan used to start grunting a little louder the harder he threw at times when he really needed it.
Upstairs, 2-1.
I got no problem with that pitch. Devers swings so hard at times and sits on fastballs just to keep him honest. Straighten him up a bit.
2-2. And once again, the Red Sox fans with a referendum on the Yankees.
That up and in fastball got him lit up a little bit.
Also got Devers out in front of that breaking ball a little bit. You notice a hitter sometimes all right, now I'll get you. You know, you get a little too amped up, and then all of a sudden you take a little bit off, way out in front.
Fouled the fastball away.
Well, Boston really pushing Garrett Cole's pitch count up in this inning, this sequence. But these are the at-bats and the matchups that are worth the price of admission. You see the pitch sequence right here, 100 miles an hour, 99 on the last one, and a knuckle curve at 85 on the bottom end. Great hitter, great pitcher, big spot early in the game.
Three and two. All tough at bats here. Tonight's high-speed pitch comes from Wind Creek, Bethlehem. Escape to winning. 100 miles an hour. So the runners will go. 2 outs, 3-2 count on the cleanup hitter, Rafael Devers. Is Cole emptying the tank here in the third inning? That's your question. So even if the Red Sox don't plate anybody, you've taken a lot of pitches out of Garrett Cole. This is the 70th pitch. It's just the third inning. Now the Yankees do have Loaizaga in the bullpen, so they have a man that could give them some length. 29 pitches this inning. Three-two, swing and a miss. Dialed it up, 100 miles an hour, and he strikes out Bogarts, and he strikes out Devers. At the Red Sox strand 2, we go to the fourth. 1-0 Yanks. Trivia question is brought to you by Hyundai. It's your journey. Own it. Tonight is Garrett Cole and Gary Sanchez's 11th career start together. What batter has pitched and caught the most starts in Yankees history? Wow. So much to choose from. Is it Whitey and Yogi? Is it Guidry and Munson?
Pettit
and Posada? Gleyber Torres starts the 4th inning. He was up at the plate when Odor got thrown out trying to steal second to end the 3rd. So he gets a fresh count. One and one.
There was a point early in Pettit's career where it was him and Jim Leyritz hooking up a lot.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was like his personal catcher there for a while. So I'm not going with Pettit, although he did have a lot of starts with the Yankees.
Boy, he really studies his craft, David. Nothing left to chance. And he's got the kind of physical talent that he could almost out-physical you, but that's not good enough for him.
We've seen him make adjustments this year. Almost tripled his usage of his changeup. You know I harp on that, but it bears repeating. That is a major adjustment for a power pitcher. And that was by design coming into this year. So to your point, Michael, yeah, he's constantly looking ahead, trying to get ahead of the curve. It's a tough night here tonight. See how far he can get into this game. He really turned it up last inning to get out of that jam. You look at the Red Sox lineup, too. These are the lineups that bothered me the most. The real diversity of that lineup. Through to the 7th hitter, it's right, left, right, left, right, left, all the way up to Renfroe. So you got to bounce back and forth. Location, styles, pitches. I think that's an underrated facet, for pitchers. That bothered me, Paul. I mean, if I face McGuire and Canseco and big right-handed batters all night long, I'm going to get in a groove. Start getting my slider going. But if I got to bounce back and forth, well, I got to get my splitter going to the lefty. I got to get my slider going in the next at bat. It was just a higher degree of difficulty for me. Just a personal opinion of mine.
Swing and a miss. Boy, Valdez has been impressive. Came in for Eduardo Rodriguez, a Yankee run in, 2nd and 3rd, nobody out. That was in the 2nd, and he struck out 3. The Yankees didn't score. Then he faced a minimum 3 in the 3rd, and now strikes out Torres to start the 4th. Guy was just called up today to replace Sawamura in the bullpen. And he's getting the Red Sox big outs and keeping them in it while the Red Sox are building up Garrett Cole's pitch count. There's Brett Gardner, who's driven in the Yankees' only run, that double to left center field, the last batter that Rodriguez faced. One and one.
Uh-oh, I'm rooting for you, Gardy. Let's go.
Three and one. And the pitch. And a bunt. Foul ball. Vasquez out quickly, but it was foul.
You see Devers all the way over at shortstop. I mean, if you get this ball down anywhere, even a hard bunt down the left field line is going to be a base hit. Not a bad play if you're Brett Gardner.
You know who had a great play for this kind of a shift? Tony Fernandez. He'd walk up in the box and do a little slashing style and slash it down the line for a double against this kind of shift. One of the best I ever saw do that. He really did practice that. The late, great Tony Fernandez. Play some shortstop, too.
Some of the best hands I remember just watching him when he came over to New York, and just his ability to field and make it look so easy.
Waved at that pitch, a changeup. Gardner down on strikes. That's the 5th strikeout for Valdez.
Seem kind of pushes, and Brett Gardner knows it's a strike. Way out on his front foot. Do anything to just try to foul it off. Kind of an awkward swing.
We just get word on Eduardo Rodriguez. He left the game with migraine symptoms. Hope he's okay. Two-0 to Gittins. That is ripped to left field. It's a base hit. Hit so hard it gets past Verdugo, but Gittins can only get a single. Verdugo played it well. Boy, was that scalded.
Yeah, you don't see a lot of like ground ball, little line drives get by the left fielder this quick. Obviously, in most ballparks, it's an easy double, but not here in Fenway.
Good to see Chris Gittins turn it loose. We haven't really seen him get comfortable yet in the big leagues.
So here's Ryan Lamar. Pitch outside. Lamar is 32 years old. 6 big league season. And he made his Yankee debut on May 16th, but he strained his right hamstring 3 days later, and that happened to be in the 3rd inning of Corey Kluber's no-hitter. One on the IL, then optioned down to Scranton, called back up on July 18th. Boone calls him a pro, prepared for all kinds of situations.
We talk about 6 big league years. Well, he's been with 6 big league teams too in those 6 years. Reds, Red Sox, A's, Twins. Went back to the Twins, White Sox, and now the Yankees. So he has made the rounds.
Now, speaking of Kluber, he threw in the bullpen at Fenway today. Threw 20 pitches, all fastballs, and spoke to the media afterward and said he is going to play this year. For sure, he's going to pitch. He's going to come back, but didn't give a timetable. (3-1) to Lamar. 3-2. Great story about Lamar. Hit his first major league home run in Detroit. From Jackson, Michigan, 80 miles from Detroit. So at that game, he had 60 family and friends, and he hit his home run, and his uncle caught the ball. Swing and a miss. Lamar down on strikes. 3 strikeouts in the inning for Phillips Valdez. We go to the bottom of the 4th, 1-0. Tonight is Garrett Cole and Gary Sanchez 11th career start together. What batter has pitched and caught the most starts in Yankees history? There's so many choices, so let's just see. Red Ruffing and Bill Dickey.
I thought you were going to have to go back. Yes.
There's a line drive caught by Rougned Odor. Take a base hit away from Martinez, and that's a good thing, obviously, for Cole, as he gets 1 pitch, 1 out. Lefty Gomez, Bill Dickey, Whitey Ford, Yogi Berra, Andy and Jorge, and Messina and Jorge. And the one that you pitched the most to, David, was Joe Girardi.
Poor guy.
I don't know if you saw it, Paul, but you were not working the Philly games, but somebody asked Girardi, you have a message for David? And he goes, yeah, why did you shake me off? He remembered a specific at bat where David shook him off and the ball was hit for a home run.
Juan Gonzalez hit it off the glass.
That one's hit deep to center field. Turning and playing it off the wall is Gardner. Verdugo will hustle to second, and he will make it with a double.
Well, it's amazing what a couple hits will do. Like I said in the pregame, he was 1 for his last 19 coming into this series. And then all of a sudden, 3 hits last night, lines 1 here off the wall. This did not sound like he got it all, but it looked like he hit it on the barrel there.
Knuckle curve that Garrett Cole left up a bit.
Runner on second, 1 man out. There's Renfroe. Grounds it foul. Verdugo is always going to have a lot of pressure in Boston because they traded Mookie Betts, and he was one of the players that came back in the deal. And you know, you're never going to get another Mookie Betts back, but Verdugo's a pretty good player. Popped up. Gittins for the second out. You know, we found the Juan Gonzalez home run, David.
This long home run, a 3-run shot, the third longest in history here at this ball.
Bobby Mercer calling that.
Cody, if you're going to give him up, you might as well give up a bomb, huh?
Wow, that was a long way. I remember it well.
Now, is that something where Girardi comes to the mound, gives you the ball, and asks you then, or does he leave you alone? Like, why'd you shake me off?
He leave you alone there. You gotta let a little space, a little time in between. In this case, about 15 years.
It's amazing that that's what the message he wanted to send.
Yes. Unprompted.
There's a strike, 0-1.
I'll never forget the year Juan Gonzalez drove in 100 runs before the All-Star break. It's just like he was a phenomenal hitter for a lot of years.
You know, we're talking about personal batteries, and there's Juan Gonzalez's resume. It's an impressive one. Since 1901, the pitcher-catcher battery, the most, was Mickey Lolich and Bill Freehand. 324 games together.
It's one of those spots, you know, John Sterling's probably watching the monitor in this game, and he's, why are they putting Juan Gonzalez up there?
Thanks, we're in Texas.
Yaxel Rios, we saw him yesterday. He's up again. A friend of mine just told me that Juan Gonzalez is managing the Dominican Republic team in the Olympics.
Interesting. I heard Hideki Matsui was involved in the opening ceremony.
One of the flag, the torch. Did he light the torch or carry the flag? One of the two high bits of honor. He was there, and it was the torch. So Vasquez down looking. A strong fourth inning for Cole after the Verdugo double, and we're going to go to the fifth. 1-0 Yanks. Tonight's pitching matchup brought to you by the BP ME Rewards at your BP and Amoco stations. And Garrett Cole starts for the Yankees. He's thrown 80 pitches over 4, 3 hits, and didn't allow a run yet. 7 walks and 7 strikeouts, 2 walks. Eduardo Rodriguez started for the Red Sox, left the game in the second inning with a migraine. Phillips Valdez took over, 3 innings, 55 pitches, and he was great. Just put zeros up there. What a great shot. Hey, enjoy the flight. As we go to the top of the 5th inning, a new pitcher for the Red Sox, Yaxel Rios. This will be his 16th game. Way too many walks, so let's see how patient the Yankees are with him. Greg Allen will start it off, number 9 batter for the Yankees. Batting from the left side. And there's a strike. This is the 5th big league season for Yaxel Rios. Signed with the Rays this offseason and was pitching at AAA when they traded him to Seattle for cash June 4th. And 10 days later, Seattle traded him to Boston for cash. 0-2. Job well done for Valdez. One of those situations, didn't know he was going to be pitching. Certainly didn't know he'd be pitching in the second inning. And stepped up. The 0-2. Did he go? Yes, he did. Allen down on strikes. He struck out twice tonight.
Again, the lefty, we've talked about it, the pitch they love, down and in. But with 2 strikes, Cody used to abuse me with that pitch. That ball down and in on my back foot. Why didn't you get it out over the plate where I could hit it?
Yeah, you did hit it enough, that's for sure.
You know, my friend was off by 1 letter. Gonzalez is managing the Puerto Rico team in the Olympics, not the DRs, so it's PR. That must be a big deal for those young men. Juan Gonzalez, a legend in Puerto Rico.
You know, when you think about it, that a lot of the revenue from Major League Baseball is poured into the Dominican Republic and the academies, and Puerto Rico has kind of suffered from a budgetary standpoint, some of the issues on the island. So it's a big deal for some of the former big names to try to build back up Puerto Rican winter ball leagues that Paul and I both played in, and was a big influence in both of our careers.
And Puerto Rico, you're subject to the draft. The Dominican Republic, you are not. So that's a little bit of a disadvantage for some of the players as well.
Yeah, the Puerto Rican winter leagues have really struggled over the last several years and trying to keep it going down there.
You've told me stories. You really loved your time playing in Puerto Rico, right?
Loved it. It was a huge influence on my career. Played for Arecibo, the Lobos 1 year, and then the Ponce Leones the next year. Paul was in Mayaguez. Loved Puerto Rico. Love Puerto Rico to today. Loved going there. It's a great island. Some great baseball players.
You remember
Bernie Williams.
You talk about legends over there. When we got over there, back there, that was 1985. You know, it was Roberto Clemente. I mean, it was every billboard, every stadium. I mean, the whole island, you know, just revered Roberto Clemente. And now there's been some stars come after him. But boy, I tell you what, at that time, he was baseball, and he was the legend in Puerto Rico.
And our colleague Ken Singleton played in Puerto Rico, and he was managed by Roberto Clemente, and that was a big influence on Kenny. Here is Rougned Odor. 0 for 2. He has to skip rope. The ball gets by and allows Stanton to get to second. That is a legitimate wild pitch.
Alex Cora as well, the Cora brothers, Puerto Rico.
I won't mention Joey, Coney. He used to drive me crazy. He was the first guy that would play. He was a second baseman in Seattle, and he was the first guy that would play short right field, as Michael likes to say it. He took more hits from me on that AstroTurf in that Kingdome. I hated that position way out there.
Foul down the left field line. Swing and a miss. 100 miles an hour from Rios.
With movement too.
High fly ball, deep right field. Renfroe back. He's on the track. He makes the play in front of the wall for the final out. No runs, no hits, no errors. One man left on base at the end of 4.5 innings of play. We are halfway through. Yankees lead 1-0, and they were that close to 3-0. Is brought to you by 7-Eleven. For more than just munchies, take it to 11. Tim Anderson can play, flat out play. Last 13 games, 8 ribbies, 18 runs, 420 on average, slugging 737. Mets with a pickup of the veteran Rich Hill from Tampa Bay. And the Cleveland Indians next year will be no more. They will be the Cleveland Guardians following the 2021 season.
It's a very Rays move, isn't it? Tampa Bay Rays.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of be buyers on one end to get Cruz and then sellers on the other end and turn it over.
And immediate dividends as Cruz hit a home run tonight. Pitch outside, 1-0. I was reading a story in The Athletic that it was very tough for the Twins to trade Cruz the player, but it was much more difficult to trade Cruz the person and what he meant in that clubhouse. I mean, when he was told that he was traded by Rocco Baldelli and came out and told his teammates, they're all crying. That's how much respect they had for him. And Derek Falvey of the Twins said he might be the greatest teammate I've ever seen. And he also happens to be a pretty good hitter.
Yes, at 41 years old, still chugging along. And it officially, you know, that move officially puts the for sale sign up in Minnesota. Open for business. And there is some players there that are very desirable.
They'd like to sign Byron Buxton to an extension. That doesn't seem like it's working out. Do they trade him? That would be somebody that a lot of teams would want. Barrios, the pitcher, who's outstanding. He'll be a free agent after 2022. Is he on the market? Workman is doing just that. Getting ready.
It's important at bat here as you see Cole's pitch count creeping up.
Strike three. Dahlbeck down looking.
Right to the black, Paul. 3-2 fastball right on the outside corner.
You know, it's amazing to me as you watch Garrett Cole, you know, kind of struggle here and there with his control, pitch count going up, but he's throwing a shutout. And he's shutting down a good offensive team. I mean, it's hard to do both. You know, to struggle at all, you're going to give up runs against Boston. Not if you're Garrett Cole. He's made quality pitches when he had to. He has had a few long innings.
That one is drilled to left field. Hits the top of the wall. Played out there by Lamar. And he holds Hernandez to just a single. That's one time with a wall played against him.
Yeah, Michael, you're exactly right. There are times where that green monster, I mean, that ball's out of most ballparks. I mean, that's a line drive in the stands, but because it's so high, hanging slider just hammered to left field off the top of the green monster. Tell you what, he didn't sit and watch either. It just happened so quick. And boy, that was only a couple feet from being in the seats. You feel like you caught a break if you're Garrett Cole by keeping that ball in the ballpark and only giving up a single.
Another dent in the wall.
Nice. Kind of Pink Floyd at me there, Michael.
That wall giveth and it taketh away. It's one heck of a long single.
And Paul, to amplify your point, it would have been out in every ballpark in baseball but Fenway. It would have been a home run. 29 out of 30. Jarren Duran has struck out and walked today. Oh, and 1.
You've been seeing Cole really work him upstairs. And Duran, if you look at his hands, how low he carries his hands, it's very hard to get on top of that ball from that position. And, you know, he's been under it all night. If you go hard at him above the belt, very hard for him to stay on top. Just because where his hands start, low.
1-1. Well, the next pitch will be pitch number 90 for Cole. How far do they go with him? Well, in that game against the Astros, it was 129. But I don't think they want to make a habit of that. Probably the outlier game. 1 and 2. In fact, that's the most pitches he's thrown in his career in a game.
You and I have talked about this, and Paul knows this as well, Michael, that it's not so much the number as much as how you got there. And 90 pitches with one out in the fifth. And that's a bit of a slog, even though he's got a shutout working right now.
In the dirt. Nice block by Sanchez, keeping Hernandez at first. And the 2-2. Still throwing hard. Fouled away.
He's in fantastic shape, Garrett Cole. I mean, we've seen this from him all year long. Not only can he reach back, but he threw the ball 99 and 100 miles an hour on that start you were referring to earlier. And 125th and 6th pitch were both up in the upper 90s.
We used to talk about doing that, Coney, was Severino. I mean, he was able to carry that velocity, when he was healthy late into the game.
That one's driven into right center field and deep, and it's going to go into the triangle and bounce into the seats. As the Yankees catch a break, that'll stop Hernandez at third. So a double for Duran.
You'll notice where this pitch is. This is the ball that he can handle from where his hands are. It's a changeup, but it's low, and you see that now he can drop the head because his hands are so low. They're still above the baseball to that low strike.
Well, you can say that fan reached over, but that ball would have gone into the bullpen if the fan didn't grab it. So I don't think the umpires are talking right now, but I don't see why they would reverse that and let Hernandez score.
Yeah, Garrett Cole kind of yanked that changeup down and in, and Duran right off the barrel of the bat, you could almost see him react. His facial reaction was almost like, "Whoa, I got it."
So the runners will stay where they are, second and third. One man out. The deepest part of the ballpark. And again, it would have gone into the bullpen if the fan didn't grab the baseball.
A big break there in the Bermuda Triangle there at Fenway Park. With his speed, he's easily a third.
So here's Bogaerts as the Yankees have to bring the infield in with a 1-0 lead. Time runs at third. Go-ahead runs at second against Cole. 0-1.
I'll tell you what, Bogaerts is such a dead fastball first pitch hitter. It's a good thing he went to the changeup there. Just got him out in front a little bit. But, boy, he seems like he's walking on the on-deck circle ready for that fastball.
Nestor Cortez came off the COVID IL today and just started the throw. Swing and a miss. 0-2. Well, Cole's average pitch count this year is 99, so he's at 95 right now with one out in the fifth.
Coney, if you have one of your best sliders kind of geared up, this would be a good spot to throw it. Starting him off with a changeup, then went to a fastball. You got to believe that he's going to try to mix up and throw that good strikeout slider.
Fastball. And tagging up is Hernandez. The throw is not in time. Just got in ahead of the tag. Hernandez scores to tie it. Pretty good throw by Allen, but a sac fly by Bogaerts, and it's 1-1.
Yeah, very close play. We'll see it, but you see he did everything right towards the target. One hopper just up the line a little, and it looks like that hand got in there. See, Hernandez plays with a lot of emotion once he crossed the plate. Coney, he did go back to the fastball. I think he intended to throw that way up in the strike zone. He just got the top end. Bogaerts able to get a piece of it.
Yeah, I believe you're right. He's probably trying to go way above the zone to get to that slider you were talking about on the next pitch.
On the throw, Duran moved to third, so he's at third with the go-ahead run. 2 outs. Yankees can back up the infield. 0-1 count on Devers. 1-1. Hit deep to left field. Is it high enough? It's over the wall. It's a 2-run home run, and the Red Sox lead 3-1.
This is just a case where you're seeing a good offensive team just wear a good pitcher down. I mean, all of a sudden, sooner or later, you can see enough pitches from this offense, you're going to put some damage up. And, you know, he caught a couple breaks earlier in the inning, but not here with the big home run from Devers.
And here's J.D. Martinez. Strike.
Well, pretty much center cut fastball, and Devers didn't miss it. Knew right off the bat. Hometown, home player. You know when you get him.
Well, Cole got helped by the wall early. He got hurt by the wall there.
Such a nice swing Devers has. The other way especially. Really drives it.
Broken bat right in on the hands, fouled away.
Devers has shown that really from his first day in the big leagues. How good of a fastball hitter he is. And power to all fields.
The 25th home run of the year. I mean, that's some kind of year that the left side of the Boston Red Sox infield, both all-stars, Bogaerts and Devers, might be second to none if you really compare offensive numbers to any left side of the infield in the MLB.
One and two on Martinez, who is 0 for 2 tonight. Whitlock has now joined Workman. High fly ball right field. Allen is there and makes the play, and that'll do it. But the Red Sox take the lead. 3 runs. 3 hits, and the big blow, the 2-run home run off the bat of Rafael Devers. Over the green monster into the first row. Cole goes, 3-1 Red Sox. By Mercy College, open to whoever you are. Orioles lead the Nats 5-1, bottom of the 7th. Tampa Bay and Cleveland 4-4, bottom of the 7th. The Mets over Toronto 2-0, top 8. And Milwaukee won the White Sox 0, top of the 5th inning. Just some of the scores from around baseball. At Fenway Park, the Red Sox lead 3-1. And Brantley pinch hitting for Sanchez here in the 6th. So you wonder what's up there. Sanchez 0 for 1 with a walk and a run scored. That's somewhat concerning.
Yes.
Between innings, Garrett Cole obviously disgusted with one of his pitches, you could see.
We talked about his ability to retain his velocity, but first thing to go is location for any pitcher. Whether you're hurt or fatigued, the first sign is always missing your spots, and that's what happened that inning. He started to miss his spots, a couple of mistakes, and they did not miss him on the other end. Paul, you said it well. You know, it's just a grind down job by the Red Sox offense. He just got worn down, forced a lot of deep counts, had to expend a lot of energy to get out of some jams earlier, and they kind of caught up to him in the 5th.
Three and 2. So Workman and Darwinzon Hernandez. So they sat down Whitlock. Axel Rios in his 2nd inning of work. High fly ball, left field. Verdugo puts it away. 1 down, and now we await word on what's the deal with Gary Sanchez.
Trying to go back. I can't remember any foul tips. I can't remember him trying to beat out a hit. I can't figure out what he would have done. So Meredith and Michael, let's go. Get to work.
Here's Gleyber Torres, 0-1. You know, it's hard to pinpoint where a game, quote unquote, goes wrong, but the Yankees got Garrett Cole a run in the second inning, and then they had runners on second and third and nobody out. The starting pitcher left the game with a migraine, and they don't score. Now, does that mean that Garrett Cole pitches differently? Well, the stress level is certainly relieved just a bit. If you put up a crooked number there, if you could score those runs, I mean, 2 fly balls to right field, and you have a 3-0 lead. I think that's a big inning there, David.
Huge inning. And, you know, to your point, Michael, if you look at win probability added on the metric, the #1 player on the Red Sox side is Phillips Valdez, who pitched out of that. He had the biggest impact on this game right now. Pitching out of that jam, and then those 7 strikeouts and 3 scoreless innings.
You know, I look back at that also, and I truly believe if you ask Alex Cora, well, you know, why would you bring I think he put pressure on some young players to try to get the job done, and they did not do it. And sometimes when that infield comes in as a hitter, you do. You pressure yourself.
Run down by Duran as Torres is retired, 2 away. And Paul, that situation is not exclusive to tonight. We've seen it all year, where the Yankees have not been able to get runs in from third base with nobody out or 1 out. And, I mean, that's got to be done there in the second inning and give your ace some breathing room.
Yeah, in the last couple days, the last night against Philadelphia at home, and then last night their situational hitting with guys on third was very good. Brett Gardner, for instance, got a big run in last night from third base, and you know, those little runs here or there, you know, they win a lot of games. You know, contact is so important with men on third base.
And here's Gardner. Now, if you want to know what happened in that inning, Gardner doubled. That was it for Rodriguez. They bring in Valdez. He promptly strikes out Gittins. He hits Lamar, and that loads the bases. So bases loaded, 1 out. He strikes out Greg Allen, and then he strikes out LeMahieu looking. So the Yankees lead that inning up 1-0, but you get the sense it could have been, should have been so much more.
It's a great point, Michael. What looked like a tremendous advantage for the Yankees got flipped in a hurry. And now Cora's in the driver's seat with all of his weapons ready to go in the bullpen.
And a walk to Gardner. And here comes Dave Bush, the pitching coach. So Brantley is the backup catcher for the Yankees. He pinch hits for Sanchez. He's got the gear on. He's catching the rest of this day. And you know, when you get in these situations, you always have to wonder, well, what happens if the worst happens and Brantley gets out of the game? Well, we keep hearing that Odor would be an emergency catcher. So here's Gittins. He has the power to tie this game. Hit a bullet single to left field in the 4th inning. Rio steals. And a check swing, grounded Back to the mound. The catcher, Vasquez, fields and fires, and that will do it here in the 6th. No runs, no hits, no errors. 1 man left. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th inning. New York Yankees baseball is brought to you by MSC Cruises, a world of discovery. By Mattress Firm, upgrade and save up to $400 on top-rated brands. And by your Kia dealers. Visit kia.com to learn more. Some of the catchers in this great rivalry. Last two we saw, Varitek and Posada. And now Rob Brantley will take over behind the plate. He had a rough night last night as he was behind the plate when Brooks Kriske set a record by having 4 wild pitches in 1 extra inning. I was listening to Eduardo Perez today on ESPN Radio as Nestor Cortez takes over for Cole. And he said that Brantley, he had him in Miami when he was a coach. He said defense is not his strong suit. And he struggled last night. Although, I mean, those were real wild pitches. I don't know how much blame could go to the catcher.
Yeah, there were a couple that were right in front of him, in front of home plate, that he was kind of late to get down or get his glove turned over, and they hit off the heel of his glove. But you're right. Some of those pitches were spiked.
Fly ball off the bat of Verdugo, and Lamar puts it away. 1 down. And David, this is a clear case. You get Cole out. He's thrown a lot of pitches the last couple of games. 96 in 6 innings last time. 129 in a complete game the time before. And you could see he was running out of gas, although he was still throwing hard. This was probably the move to make.
Absolutely. It was the move to make. As we said, you know, when you start missing location, that's the first sign of fatigue. It's not about the pitch count. It's the fact that the pitch count came in a few amount of innings, in 5 innings. You throw 100 pitches, around 100 pitches in 5 innings, that's a tough night.
Count 0-2 on Hunter Renfroe. He's 1 for 2. Brantley tried to bring that one in. Porter wasn't buying. Bottom of the 6th inning is 3-1 Red Sox. Second game of a 4-game set. Strike three. Renfroe down looking.
Well, we talked about Cortez and how much fun he is dropping down and then all of a sudden and overthrowing that fastball, but getting the inside corner and locking up Renfroe, who's very good against left-handed pitching.
One thing Nestor Cortez has done this year, it's a little bit under the radar. His velocity's up. That last pitch was 93 miles an hour. You know, the last go around we saw Nestor Cortez, he was upper 80s, maybe touched 90, 91. He's up a couple of ticks on his fastball when he needs it, along with all the other trickery that he features. Improv.
0-2.
Very confident on the mound, works fast, gives you a lot of different looks.
I just love pitchers that aren't afraid to throw strikes, Coney. I mean, and not everybody throws 100 miles an hour, but you know what? If you don't throw strikes, who cares? It's just like, you know, you said 91, 93, okay, but he's not afraid to throw strikes or to get hit.
One and two. And the pitch outside. And the lefty deals, fouled away. Cortez just off the COVID IL, along with Jonathan Loaizaga. And Gio Urshela is actually in Boston with the Yankees, and there's a chance he could be activated on Sunday. We're in the bottom of the sixth inning, and the Red Sox lead the Yankees 3-1. Ground ball, LeMahieu. And Cortez comes on and pitches a 1-2-3 inning. We go to the seventh in Boston. 3-1 Red Sox. Yankees in-game box score, which is brought to you by Spectrum, with the most reliable service coast to coast. 2 walks for Stanton. Sanchez left the game in the 6th inning. Brantley pinch hit for him. He's 0 for 1. And Stanton, while he was in there, or should I say Sanchez while he was in there, 0 for 1 with a walk. Torres, a single, a double for Gardner, and an RBI, the only RBI. Gittins with a single, and Lamar was hit by a pitch. Audi scoreboard shows you where we are, 3-1 in the 7th inning. Boston leads the Yankees, and the line score is brought to you by your Tri-State Audi dealers. Now it's time for Garrett Whitlock. 29 games, former Yankee draft pick. Rule 5 selection by the Red Sox. And he's pitching the 7th inning. As Estevan Florial pinch hits for Lamar.
Really comes down to choices. You know, you can only protect so many players, every organization. You've got a 40-man roster. You got a lot of minor leaguers. You have to evaluate your own talent in your own system. For every organization, that might be the most important thing. So you had choices to make. Somebody had to be left off the roster. It's hard to know what you have, you know, when you have somebody in the minor league system and they've never been in the big leagues, and you got a numbers game going on. Now this kid ends up getting drafted and plucked by your main competitor and is off to a tremendous start to his young career.
And that's the thing that stings the most. If he's taken by a National League team, if he's taken by a team that's not your rival, well, you don't have to stare at him for 19 games a year, but he gets taken by the Red Sox, so it's right in the Yankees' face. Swing and a miss as Florial strikes out in his pinch hitting appearance.
Yeah, the rule is, I mean, it kind of bears repeating in case you don't know about the roster rules, as we get another look at this pitch with movement up and away. He's got good movement, upper 90s fastball, really good changeup, and an improving slider. After 3 years in the minor leagues, you have to be protected on the 40-man roster, or then you are exposed for any other team to come in and draft you in that Rule 5 draft.
Now Whitlock coming off Tommy John surgery in 2019, so the Red Sox took a flyer, but it really was only a flyer that cost them a little bit of money. If they didn't like what they saw in spring training, they could offer him back to the Yankees, but they liked what they saw right away. Cora even brought it up in his first spring training press conference, said this is a guy to look out for. And Whitlock said the Tommy John surgery gave him a new look on his career and life. He said, I promised myself that if I was going to get a second chance and be back on the field, I would never take a day for granted again. Ooh, right off the side of the knee, and Greg Allen will take first.
Well, the way he took this, it looked like it hit that shin guard, thank goodness, because that'll leave a mark.
That was below the knee. And one other thing to know about Whitlock in the Yankee system, because he was coming off Tommy John surgery, he had not pitched since July of 2019. Now, there was no minor league season last year, as LeMahieu rips one to right field for a base hit. Allen will stop at second, and the Yankees have runners on first and second with one man out against Whitlock.
It's an excellent point you made, Michael. Coming off of surgery, didn't pitch at all last year, and now all of a sudden the Yankees got a little action going. DJ LeMahieu, that classic LeMahieu swing the other way.
So a very big spot for Giancarlo Stanton.
It is. We were talking earlier in the game. You've got a few guys in the lineup. LeMahieu, Stanton, Sanchez no longer in the lineup, and Torres. I mean, those are the guys that have to carry the load of this offense. And this is the at-bat of the game right now with Stanton. A couple men on.
Quickly 0-2.
Tell you what, 0-2, watch, he misses all the way across the plate. Stanton, great hack, just did not make contact, fouled it off. Right back to this slider, I'm sure.
Slow roller. Bogarts has one play, and he makes it at first as the runners advance. And boy, does this make this a huge at bat for Rougned Odor. Second and third with 2 men out.
Hear Bogarts yelling that he's got it there. You see a lot of third basemen that'll cut over in front of that, but Bogarts is running the show out there in more ways than one. We've seen him on the mound too, taking charge, and clearly the leader of this team.
7th inning of this game. This is only the second time the Yankees have had multiple base runners in an inning as Loaisiga getting ready. 4 of the Yankees' first 6 innings started bases empty, 2 outs. Yankees are 2-8 against the Red Sox so far this year. They have this one and 2 more to finish up this series. And that would give them 13. And then the 2 teams have 6 games remaining. Odor swings at the first pitch and lofts it to center field. Duran coming on. He's there. And the Yankees can't get the run in. No runs, a hit, no errors, and 2 men left on base. Time for the 7th inning stretch in Boston. 3-1 Red Sox. It's time for the game summary brought to you by Legoland, New York. Book your summer of awesome. 3-6-0 for the Red Sox as we go to the bottom of the seventh. 1-4-0 for the Yanks. Garrett Cole went 5, 6 hits, 3 runs, struck out 8, walked 2. Phillips Valdez coming in for the starter. Eduardo Rodriguez pitched very well. 7 strikeouts, 1 walk in 3 innings. Gardner RBI double in the second. The Yankees only run. Big blow against Cole. Devers 2-run home run in the 5th. Dahlbeck will lead off against Cortez, who starts him off with a ball, 1-0. (2-0). So Florial takes over in center as Gardner moves to left. Lamar's out of the game. Rip foul into the seats. Three and 2.
Nestor Cortez, obviously his job just to hold it right there.
Swing and a miss. He strikes out Dahlbeck.
That's all you can do. It's still Fenway Park. You're still a bloop and a blast away from tying it up.
Hey, listen, the new show just dropped on the Curtain Call podcast, and the special guest is Al Leiter. Gives his thoughts on his son, Jack Leiter, being drafted 2nd overall. You can listen now wherever you get your podcast. It also previews the Yankees road trip, and Curtain Call is indeed a 5-star podcast. Get it wherever you get your podcast. And this one was easy for Flip and Kevin Sullivan to do. You say hello to Al, and he fills up the podcast. That's the way it works.
Hello and goodbye.
But it's a great podcast, so download it now. Hernandez takes the curveball outside. Darwinzon Hernandez is getting ready to come in.
You know, when you get down to it, what a year for a father and a son. You know, to watch your son excel at Vanderbilt like he did and be able to be there for him. We saw Al at several of those games.
Line to base hit to right field for Hernandez. Well, David, a lot of people always ask us, well, why did Al stop doing games with you guys? Jack being in Vanderbilt is the reason why. He wanted to be able to see his son's games in person.
I'll tell you what, we have seen more and more of this lately, and I just think that the game is starting to change. I love what you said about Don Mattingly yesterday, Michael, that the game corrects itself, and it just seems like a lot more guys hitting the ball the other way. And it just, you've gotten away from, you know, just the high fastball and home runs. And it's, you know, that still is a big part of the game. Don't get me wrong. But when you can add in all the other facets of the game, much more interesting.
You know, I thought, Paulie, to your point, Theo Epstein, the former GM for the Red Sox and Cubs, did a podcast with Ryan Ruocco, and they covered all these topics. So if you haven't heard it, and if you haven't heard that podcast, you should probably take some time and listen to it. Yankee fans as well, and baseball fans in general. He's now on a committee with Major League Baseball to address some of these issues within the game and diversity. styles of play. He has some really interesting thoughts on it. And Theo Epstein, at the forefront of the analytics revolution with the Red Sox originally.
So essentially, they're asking Dr. Frankenstein to defuse the monster. That's a base hit to right field. Duran picks up a single, and Hernandez stops at second.
That's one way to put it, Michael, yes.
And I don't mean that derisively. As you said, he was at the forefront of analytics, and that kind of led to where we are today.
These are the at-bats that Duran is going to have to excel at when he gets an opportunity. He has not been playing against lefties, usually getting the night off. But, you know, when they bring a lefty in and you're a young player and you show Cora that you can handle these at-bats, then you start to become closer to being that everyday player that you want to be.
So here's Bogaerts. He tied the game up in the 5th with a sac fly to right to Greg Allen. And Hernandez just got in ahead of the throw from Allen. One and 0. Yankees trying to keep it right here in the bottom of the 7th inning at 3-1, but the Red Sox threatening. Hernandez at second. Jarren Duran is at first. So 3-0 with Devers lurking. Strike. Three and two.
Cortez getting pushed right out of the gate, right off of the list. You see Justin Wilson now warming up. To defer to Meredith. I'm not sure how much throwing Nestor Cortez was able to do while he was out.
Exactly how far they would push him here remains to be seen, but he has been throwing a little bit.
Three-two. Strike three. Punched out by Porter. 2 away. He got the low strike call. Reed's a little low on the box.
Yes.
But that side view shows it right at the hollow of the knee.
Yes. It's those kind of double shots there that make you wonder if the technology is ready for robo-umps or not.
Mm-hmm.
And that one's not called a strike, and it had the top of the box. So 1-0.
Keep looking at my lineup card because it just seems to me like Bogaerts and Devers are up like every inning. Are they skipping guys like you do in Little League or something? You just throw who you want up there to hit because it seems like they hit a lot.
High fly ball, deep center. Florial back on the track. See ya. Another home run for Devers. This one a 3-run shot, and the Red Sox now lead 6-1.
It's been said to watch out for the big 3, but I guess you just watch out for one tonight. It's been Devers, and 2 big home runs. Cortez goes after him, hangs a slider. He's talking to it.
A 5 RBI night for Devers. Now has 26 home runs and 79 ribbies. That's grounded to Gleyber Torres across the diamond. They get J.D. Martinez, and that will do it. But 3 runs on 3 hits. We go to the 8th inning. Yankees down by 5. Tuesday night, the push for the playoff continues as the Yankees travel to St. Pete. Coverage begins at 7. Yankees-Rays, right here on Pix 11, New York's very own. Red Sox make the call to the bullpen, brought to you by Mount Sinai. We find a way. Darwinzon Hernandez comes on for the Red Sox. It'll be their 5th pitcher and his 40th game. And Brantley will lead it off. The reason Brantley is up as the cleanup hitter for the Yankees, he had a pinch hit for Gary Sanchez in the 6th inning, and we still don't have word on what's going on with Sanchez. There's a strike. Skied the other way. We're in the 8th inning, 2nd game of this 4-game set. Yankees lost a heartbreaker last night in extra innings, and they're trailing this one 6-1 in game 2.
Well, 2 swings by Rafael Devers changed everything in this game. And you give the Red Sox credit for really wearing down Garrett Cole, making him work. Used 100 pitches just to try to get through 5 innings.
Oh, nice play by Dahlbeck to Hernandez and took an extra base hit away from Brantley.
Those are the at-bats, Coney, I used to just scream, you got no business sitting there. I'm a left-handed hitter. I hit it right down the line. You got no business making that play.
Guy's not even a first baseman. Makes that play on you.
Did that get him? Yes, it did. He's hopping around, so it got him on the foot. And that'll put Torres on first.
A little slider going in there. Boom, right off the top of the foot.
What's that feel like, Paul?
Well, you know, sometimes you get hit where, you know, the shoe helps a little bit. It's just, it's so weird when you get hit by a pitch. Sometimes it looks like, oh, that's not so bad, and you can't even move your hand. And then sometimes it looks bad and it doesn't feel too bad. But, you know, the foot and the shin are usually not good places.
Didn't bother me when I threw him.
I know. That's why you kept throwing them.
And a strike.
I threw, you know, I mentioned Tony Fernandez before, Paulie, and I threw one and hit him in the foot one time, and he got so mad at me. You know, I wasn't trying to do it, but he had been hit there a couple of times, so he let me know. Well, he stared me down.
One and one. One and two. Strike three. Gardner down looking. Well, we just get official word. Sanchez left the game with back spasms. It's weird. He missed the spot there, but he hits the corner.
Yeah, it's. We've said that about Alan Porter back there. He calls what he thinks is a strike zone. He doesn't pay attention to the glove or the positioning of the catcher as much.
Pitch to Gittins is inside at 1-0. Gittins 1 for 3 tonight. He is 4 for 39 in his short Yankee career. 2-0.
It's 118 miles an hour off of Gittins' bat when he did connect earlier. That line drive to left field. There's tremendous bat speed from Gittins. It's just a question of, you know, is he going to get enough opportunities? Can he make enough contact? Can he hit in the big leagues? There is Phillips Valdez, in my opinion, the MVP of the game. You know, Devers had 2 home runs. Okay, I'm biased. I'm a pitcher. But Valdez really picked them up. Especially when you consider that Eduardo Rodriguez had to come out of this game with migraines early. Kind of the old saying, Paulie, there's more to pitching than velocity, and there's more to hitting than exit velocity, but nonetheless, the talent is there.
Yeah, I do agree with you that he has kind of let it go a little bit more, you know, bigger swings. And, you know, if you do make the contact with these swings, obviously you're going to hit the ball a little bit harder, a little bit farther.
Hernandez wanted that one. It's a walk. So first and second, 2 men out. That brings up Florial. Well, Yankee fans, this weekend, the second half of this crucial series with the Red Sox continues over on Yes. So catch full coverage for the final 2 games starting at 3 on Saturday and noon on Sunday. Only on Yes and streaming on the Yes app. Big spot for Florial. And the first pitch is a strike. Florial had pinch hit for Ryan Lamar in the 7th, and he struck out against Garrett Whitlock. Torres at second, Gittins at first.
Florial, if you watch his swing, it looks like his bottom half is, you know, kind of gets out there where he's kind of disconnected. So, you know, you want everything in sync where, you know, your bottom half, your weight shift, everything goes into it. Looks like his bottom half leads a swing, and then he just kind of flips the bat, and it's going to make it really tough for him to stay in there on lefties. See, everything kind of drifts, and then you kind of come around, and there's just not much left.
The 0-2. 1-2.
To the Cards, back and forth. But as you said, Michael, if they adopt the new system, next thing you know, it's all about Bluetooth. What's the frequency, Kenneth?
Watch that weight kind of get out there. That's a little bit better. That's the best swing he's had in this at bat. Has not seen a breaking ball away, which is going to give him all kinds of trouble if he leads with that bottom half.
Swing and a miss. Florial down on strikes. No runs, no hits, no errors. 2 men left on base. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. It's time for the Red Sox in-game box score, which is brought to you by Spectrum. Switch and you could save up to 40%. A lot of hits, especially in the first 4 slots. Two by Hernandez and Duran, 1 by Bogart, 2 big home runs by Devers. That's really the difference in the game. Verdugo with a double, Renfroe with a single. Justin Wilson takes over, and he will pitch the bottom of the 8th inning. First up, Alex Verdugo. Pitch inside, and the bottom of the 8th is underway. There's a strike. It was Wilson who was warming in the 10th inning with Krisky on the mound, but they never went to him. And when asked afterward, Boone said, well, he was there for an emergency. You could actually make the case, well, that was an emergency. But Krisky ended up throwing 4 wild pitches, setting a record, losing the game, and then being sent down right after the game. Nelson was sent down today as well, making room for Cortez and Loaizaga. Gardner makes the play to retire Verdugo. I guess there's no rhyme or reason, Paul, because there are games that a team could get crushed, just a debilitating loss, and they come back the next day and they win. But do you think that last night's loss had any lasting effect on the Yankees? It's easy to say now because they've only managed 1 run, but you do wonder how much a loss like that hurts.
Yeah, they eat at you. There's no doubt about it. The best thing is to get back out on the field and have another game. But now, you've had a heartbreaker last night, and then your ace, kind of got beat up today. So it's not a good scenario right here. I always thought, though, when they came in here, as short-handed as they were, if they split with the Red Sox at 4 here at Fenway, that, you would still be in this divisional race. And, that's still possible. But right now, Boston looks very comfortable playing against the Yankees.
Well, there was such a deficit that you looked at this series and said, well, the Yankees have to go in and take 3 out of 4 if they have designs on the American League East, and of course they do. But if they end up splitting, well, then 4 games came off the schedule. You didn't gain any, and if they lose 3 of 4, well, that's, in the words of Joe Girardi, certainly not what you want. But there's another avenue into the playoffs, and that's the wild card. They're still very much alive.
Yes.
Strike 3. Renfroe down looking.
Well located. Backdoor cutter. See just that subtle little movement from out to in, right to the corner.
Here's Christian Vasquez.
The Yankees were always kind of in survival mode, especially recently. Aaron Judge not here, obviously. The players that were out, COVID protocol, just got a couple of them back tonight, still waiting. Aaron Judge such a big part of this lineup. The path forward is to hold the fort down and then get everybody healthy for a September run. Don't fall too far down. Don't fall too far back. 1995, I was traded over here. We were below 500, Paul, at the trade deadline. And went on that run at the end of the year. Got everybody healthy. Jack McDowell started to turn his season around, pitch better. For the Yankees, it's, get Severino, get Kluber back. Get everybody clicking together, get on a run finally. They've been waiting for all year. Is that possible? Yes, that's possible.
What you got to stay away from at this point is any extended losing streaks. I mean, you can't lose a an 8 out of 10. You can't lose a 15 out of 20 like you can in April and make up for it. You've got to the point now in the season where if you lose a couple, okay, now you got to turn it around and win a couple series. You're right back where you were, but you know you are spinning your tires when you know you're trying to catch a lot of teams ahead of you, because chances are somebody's winning every night. You know, with 3 or 4 teams ahead of you in the wild card.
Clearly undermanned right now against this Red Sox lineup.
And a walk to Vasquez.
You know, on the flip side, if you're core and you're the Red Sox, you're trying to bury the Yankees. You're trying to knock them down, knock them out. We've seen him in this game, especially, you know, upbeat. Look at those standings right there.
7 back in the loss column, 8 in the standings, and could be 9 unless the Yankees rally in the 9th. The Mets helped the Yankees today by beating the Blue Jays at Citi Field.
You know, you can talk all you want about holding the fort down as you see the wild card standings at 4.5 right there. But in reality right now, this team is outmanned. The lineup against, especially juxtaposed against the Red Sox lineup, outclassed right now.
And it's such a great, seductive story when, you know, you get wins like you did against the Phillies with the guys that came up from the minors. But when you really have to stay with those guys for a long time, it does begin to show.
And a lot of the options, I mean, it's so dangerous getting behind now if you're the Yankees, because a lot of the options that they have as far as running and moving guys, and that is all out the window when you're down, you know, 3-4 runs early in the game, middle of the game. It takes a lot of that away, and that's your strength right now, and you can't use it when you're down 4 or 5 runs.
So 0-2 on the number 9 hitter, first baseman Bobby Dalbec. He is 0 for 3. Backhanded by Torres. The throw to first. They get Dalbec, and that will do it. The Yankees come up in the 9th, trying to make up a 5-run deficit. York Yankees baseball is brought to you by Acura. Let's talk more drive. Visit tryacura.com. By Wind Creek Bethlehem. Escape to winning all summer long. By Dumbo Moving, New York's largest moving company. Visit dumbomoving.com to book your move. By Optimum. By your local Chevy dealers. Visit chevyoffers.com. And by Orlando, the theme park capital of the world. Plan your Orlando escape now. About that little miniature collie. Beautiful little dog. Posing for some pictures as Brandon Workman comes on. And will pitch the 9th inning and try to close this out, getting the final 3 outs. Yankees will try to rally. They are down 6-1. And the pitch to Greg Allen, the number 9 hitter, is low. That one is lined in the center field. Going back, Duran, and he's there, making the play for the first out. So Allen gave it a ride, but Duran catches it right near the warning track. Back to the top of the order, and DJ LeMahieu, he singled his last time up to continue his streak. He's been on base 33 straight games. Right back to Workman. And the Yankees are down to their final out. You wonder what's going through Aaron Boone's mind. Giancarlo Stanton steps in. Breaking ball, no bite. 1-0. Stanton's walked twice tonight. He's 0 for 2. It's almost painful to listen to the post-mortem from Boone. What can he say? I mean, he certainly can't come out and say, well, right now we're not good enough. And right now they're not, as that's going to be an infield hit for Stanton. And he keeps saying, well, we have to bounce back from something like this, and this is a really bad loss. And I'm sure he's tired of hearing himself talk about it. It's hard to explain these things.
Hard to recover from some of those devastating losses at the end of the games.
Be interesting to see if Stanton is in left field tomorrow or Sunday, something that Boone said was certainly a possibility. Well, in the 7th inning with the Yankees down 3-1, Odor came up with runners on 2nd and 3rd and 2 outs. Swung at the first pitch and hit a fly ball to center. Another important moment in the game, and then the Red Sox pulled away after that. Fly ball, left field on the run for Dugo, and he can't make the play. Stanton is going to score. Odor will stop at second with an RBI double. Yankees still alive at 6-2 Red Sox.
Looked like he was there, Paul. I'm not sure if he...
Yeah, he just kind of whiffed this. Every once in a while, you kind of just take your eye off the ball, and you don't know what happened, but you just don't make the play. Verdugo's shown that he's a pretty good outfielder, and he was there in plenty of time.
And Brantley fouls it off. Brantley's in because Sanchez had to leave the game with back spasms, and the Yankees have to cross their fingers and hope that that's not a serious matter. Outside, 1-1.
Well, in today's game, with a short bench on the position player side, boy, that's a tough chance to take. If you've got a catcher that's down and needs a few days and you're down to one catcher, that's going to require some thought after the game. How far is Higashioka away from being available again?
Grounded foul, still 1-2. The pitch outside, 2-2. Yankees trying to mount a 2-out rally. Stanton with a slow dribbler, infield single toward third. He scored on Odor's double to left field that Verdugo couldn't run down. So Odor staying at second with 2 outs and Brantley at the plate. And this should do it. Dahlbeck is there in foul territory, makes the play, and the Red Sox win 6-2. Red Sox take the second game after taking the first of this 4-game set. Now the best the Yankees could hope for in this weekend in Boston is a split, and he won't get the victory next to his name, but boy, a big game for Devers.
Yes, 2 home run game and some good relief work too. And Paul, that's after last night, you got Garrett Cole on, as you mentioned. That's a tough one to swallow for the Yankees.
Yeah, so far, I mean, this is one game. It was very evident where they were, you talked about it, Coney, just outmanned a little bit. And, you know, when they get behind, just not a lot of firepower to fight back. But you know what? We talked about it. Nobody's going to feel sorry for the Yankees, and the Red Sox are going to try to bury them tomorrow. So you better be ready come 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon.
Jamison Tyone will get the ball, and then Domingo Germán on Sunday. But we'll come back. We'll wrap things up from Boston. So stay right here on Pix 11.